my personal philosophy is do something every day, and 1% compounds very quickly when you do it consistently. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Startup Storybook podcast, where we share stories of college-age entrepreneurs going out and doing amazing things to inspire the next generation of college-age business owners. My name is Turner Rey, here with my friend Wes Orr, and today we will be interviewing myself, actually. So for a lot of y'all who don't know, I have a business called Embrace Strings, and we've never really gotten the chance to talk about it on the podcast. So today Wes will be interviewing me, and y'all will get to hear some more about my business. So Wes, take it away.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the first question we have to ask is, for you to just tell us about yourself. Where are you from? All the basic information.
Absolutely. So I'm from San Antonio, Texas. Born there, was raised in Bernie, which is just a little bit north of San Antonio. Ended up coming to Abilene Christian University for college. I'm a music major with business and entrepreneurship minors. And my entrepreneurial journey kind of started in high school. So um, back home, we have a program that you can take senior year called Incubator. And basically, what you do is you get in a team of 4 to 5 people, and you're tasked with coming up with a business. They give you a little bit of money and 2 class periods to just go and meet people and try and build things. And so our product was called Easy Hang. Wes, I don't even know if I've told you about this one. So it's a
No,
it's
you
a
haven't.
camping accessory for when you're going backpacking. So for anyone out there listening,
Oh,
backpacking is when you're camping but hiking every day to get to your next campsite. And a lot of this is done in bear country. So when you are hiking around bears, you need to bring a bear bag, which is essentially a bag that you tie up in a tree 20, 30 feet up in the air. You put in all your smellables, so your food, your toiletries, that type of thing. And one of our team members went on the Boy Scout trip, Philmont, and when they were setting up their bear bags, it took them forever. He said, they were in high school, but it took them probably 2 hours for all 10 of them to, put up the bear bags. Maybe a little bit big of a number, but
that's exaggerating,
it took too
100%.
long. And so our product was, a spool that helped you kinda consolidate the rope, and also, we put a little rubber ball on the end. It was super simple, but
Mm.
that process of going through and iterating and finding talking to customers, creating the design, and then winning some money at the end of the year was awesome. And so when I came to ACU, I knew I wanted to be involved in our Griggs Center and the entrepreneurship group here.
I do want to ask like a question in there though, because you kind of just started right there at high school. And a lot of people, one, don't get those opportunities, but two, I mean, it sounded like you just kind of dove straight into it. So like, have you always been like entrepreneurial like you are right now?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I would say I've always been curious about new things.
Mm,
Um, so I play viola in the orchestra. My
mhm.
parents had 2 rules growing up. You always had to play an instrument, and you always had to play a sport. So I played basketball. I You can't tell on a podcast, but I'm 6'5". I'm fairly tall. So I played basketball for forever. Ended up playing golf in high school, and then started piano when I was 5, and now play viola, guitar, accordion, a whole bunch of different instruments. Um, I've always been someone who's always doing something. I'm not very good at just sitting
Mm.
still, and I think that trait of not sitting still sometimes is frustrating and annoying because you are up at night thinking about some random idea that you have. But I think that I wouldn't necessarily call it entrepreneurship. I think just that interest in creativity and constant thinking about something. You're bound to have some sort of idea for a product or a service or something business related.
Mhm. Well, then that's a perfect segue into Embrace Strings then. So, yeah, tell us more about
Yes.
that.
So, like I mentioned, I'm a music major. I play viola in the orchestra. And freshman year, I was gun ho set on trying to get into a professional orchestra. So up in Abilene,
Mhm.
we have the Abilene Philharmonic, which is a professional orchestra. People come in from all across Texas, and it's an amazing group, amazing players. And as a freshman in college, I somehow thought I could make it in. So I was practicing 3, 4, 5 hours a day in really bad posture. Like I mentioned, I'm tall. And so with my neck height, I've always played like this. And for multiple hours a day, having your neck in that posture is not very good. So at the end of freshman year, I auditioned, actually made it into the Abilene Phil, but injured myself in the process. And over summer, essentially took a whole summer off of playing to do physical therapy, see the chiropractor, and get my neck figured out. And in that time, I knew it was my chin rest. The chin rest is the part of the instrument that you literally rest your chin on. I knew it was too short and not working for me. So the first thing I did was I went to my barn, got a little piece of 2x4 and sanded it down into a super tall chin rest. It was pretty ugly, but it worked. And that got me thinking, like, oh, what if I make more of these um, and help other people too? So that was kind of the start of it. Um, Came into my sophomore year with this idea. Had been iterating over the summer, so I took it to my local 3D printing shop. We started just making some small little design changes, trying different materials, and then I pitched it in ACU's Springboard competition and ended up winning $15,000 to use to run the business. Since then, I have completed the design process, which when you're designing a product, it takes twice as long and twice as much money as you expect it to, but it's a really good and valuable process to go through. And so, actually, this week we're sending out beta tests to a couple of my friends who will be one day customers, just getting their thoughts and feedback. And once we get that back, we'll make any changes needed and start manufacturing these.
Yeah. Now, wow. Um, all right. So I want to talk about Springboard a little bit more because in previous episodes, we've talked about these different types of pitch
Mhm.
competitions. Our previous episode with Thomas Lester, he had his Tiger Cage that Auburn hosted, and we have Springboard. And so I'm sure a lot of people aren't really familiar with how these pitch competitions work. So I'd be remiss not to ask you more information about Springboard, and I'm pretty sure you're very familiar with it too. So
Yes.
tell us
Yes,
more.
I love these types of things. I mean, the blessing I had of being able to do one in high school. I mean, the first
Hmm.
team, we won $10,000 in high school. It was amazing. And super blessed to have that program. Coach Brewer, Jenny Brewer, if you're listening to this, thank you. You're doing amazing things. Um, but yes, Springboard at ACU. Um, just like at Auburn and all the other schools that our guests have talked about. Um, it's an amazing thing. So it's also kind of crazy how simple it is. The first round was a 90-second video pitch of you just talking about your idea. You don't even have to have a product. You don't have to have anything. And so for people out there, the these type of competitions can be very intimidating from the aspect of you see a big number of, oh, I'm going to win 15, 20, $30,000. That's a ton of money. I don't know what to do with that. Well, no one does when you're starting. But if you have an idea for something that you would genuinely be interested in, and you only have to submit 90 seconds of a video, I mean, that's really worth it. So at least at ACU, and I know from obviously talking with our guests across the country, there's normally multiple phases to these types of things. So like I said, there's the first 90-second video, and then you'll go through some sort of screening process. The judges will watch that pitch. You'll get accepted into a kind of smaller group of cohort. At ACU, you get a little bit of money and then a couple months to take a class and work through um, the different things you need for your idea. They don't expect you coming in to have a fully fleshed out plan, but by taking that class, you will and be prepared to pitch for the big dollars at the end of the year. And I feel like that's the
Mhm.
structure for most pitch competitions around the U.S. universities.
Mhm. So you've touched on what it is. Now, I mean, I want you to go through your well, how you felt going through it because I mean, I'm sure that's an emotional roller coaster. So tell us about that element.
So I will say one thing is I felt really comfortable pitching. Um, Obviously, as a
Mhm.
musician, you're performing in front of people all the time. And so I'm not at all saying that I'm never nervous, but I'm comfortable in those uncomfortable situations, which I think is, I mean,
Mm.
it's an advantage to some extent because you're okay with talking and messing up in front of people. Um, so when I did the first 90-second pitch, that wasn't too terrible. I had a very clear idea of what the product was going to be, who wants it. Um, Made that video. I mean, honestly, at ACU last year, we didn't have a lot of people applying, so I felt confident getting into the second stage. And then once in the second stage, the way it works here is we took small business management. And so that class was essentially met once a week. And every week we brought in a Abilene community member who is an expert in different fields that you will need for your business. So we had a banker come in to talk about finances and how to set up all of your accounting and also how to have a relationship with a banker for when you need funding. We had um, a lawyer come in to talk about how to set up your LLC, how to look for regulations and rules that, I mean, we had some food and beverage companies. So for them, you have to be careful about all those rules and regulations, and so on and so forth. And so going through that class, I mean, honestly, that was the most valuable class I've taken at ACU. I've really enjoyed a lot of my classes. Some of them, I mean, it's school, right? So some of them are not maybe as applicable as you would hope. However, this one, I mean, it was amazing. Every single class was a discussion, was a learning opportunity, and it was very practical for what I'm trying to do. And so, I mean, I will that will probably be one of my best experiences at ACU. And then going
Mhm.
into the spring and doing the final pitch, um, I mean, that was just fun, honestly. I had prepared a lot. Um, so the pitch was right at the end of the semester before finals. Back in February of this year, I had gone to a big convention. It's called the Texas Music Educators Association convention. There's 30,000 people from across Texas, teachers, professors, musicians who all go. And I bought a booth. I showed my really bad prototype, um, and people loved it. And so that gave me a whole bunch of validation. I got some really good insights, statistics, data that I could use in the pitch, that made me feel really comfortable. And then I had been iterating on the actual chin rest the entire time. And so when I came into that spring pitch, I knew all my stuff. And the other thing that made me comfortable is like, even if I don't win this, I've had all these experiences and I mean, I can go on without this funding. Will it be more expensive on my side? Yes. But I mean, either way, it's a win-win. So
Mhm. Yeah. It's more than just about winning. It's about the whole
absolutely.
thing. Mhm. Cool. So I mean, you just kind of talked about your entire iteration process. You might want to talk about that a little bit more. I'm sure you do. Um, and also like developing that relationship with the people that you expect to buy your product. Um, but of course, you've got this fantastic idea out there, and you probably don't want people to steal it. So I don't know if I'm hinting at something here, but tell us more about patents.
Oh man. So yes, the patent process has been really important for my product, which I haven't shown it yet. So a chin rest, like I was saying, just goes right on
Mhm.
top of an instrument. Mine is unique because it's in two parts. So most chin rests are just a solid piece of wood that's immovable. So if you're someone my height, well, it might not be tall enough, and if you're someone shorter, it might be too tall, right? And there are adjustable ones out there, but they require a tool to actually adjust, and they're a pain. And so when I came up with this, which essentially just has little dials where you can raise and lower the chin rest, it's extremely simple. Yeah, the first thing I did was patent it. And so again, I'm very fortunate in high school with this easy hang company. We got the opportunity to meet a San Antonio patent attorney. His name is Samer Shah.
Mm.
Samer, if you're listening to this, I'll send it to you. Um, we're great friends. He's an amazing guy, and we got the opportunity. He provided his services for free in high school for us to patent that first thing. So we went through the process and learned it in high school. Um, we certainly didn't do an amazing job, but understanding the lingo and the way you have to describe and think through the different options of ways to change your product, because that's one thing when you're doing a patent, you can't just protect what you actually have. If you wanna really protect it, you have to
Mhm.
protect the other variations of things that people could do that are similar to your product. So, for example, mine is using dials, correct? Well, what if someone, instead of using dials to adjust this, uses buttons? Well, if I don't put that in my patent, someone can easily do the same thing I'm doing, put buttons on it, and say, "Hey, this is the embrace strings, but better with a button," right? So, that was I'm patent pending. We have a provisional patent, which is the first step of the patent process. So once you submit a provisional patent, you have a year. The patent office doesn't actually really look at it, so you have a year to iterate. And then after that year, you submit a non-provisional. The patent office will look at it, verify you, or say, "Hey, you need to tweak this a little bit," and then you'll be fully protected for the 12 or 14 years.
Mm. So what protections, if any, are offered to the
Yes.
provisional?
So the provisional is important because the day that you submit the provisional is the day that you claim the idea as yours. So while the patent office doesn't actually look at it and doesn't actually say you can do this per se, it does say that if so say you submitted it, let's say I submitted a provisional, excuse me, back in 2024, and then I submit my non-provisional in 2025. If someone comes and says, "Hey, I had an idea for this product in the middle of 2024." I can say, "Well, hang on a second. I wasn't registered fully with the patent office because my non-provisional wasn't in, but I filed the provisional that said I had this idea going, and you didn't do that. So I have the protection because I did it first." Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yes, yeah, that makes plenty of sense. Yeah.
And, like Thomas was saying last week, it's definitely a learning process of how to write it, but it's an extremely helpful one because you
Mhm,
get to think through all the additional, variations, and I've learned a lot just from writing the patent.
mhm. Oh, yeah, cool. So, I guess this would be a good time to transition into the other entrepreneurial things that you're doing because I know there's a ton of them. So, I mean, unless there's anything else you wanna talk more about your business specifically, because if you do, I wanna hear all
Well,
about
I
it.
think one thing that just talking to all of our guests, um,
Mhm,
one thing that's really important when you're gonna start a business is knowing your customer. One of the first things
mhm,
I did with this, and now obviously I'm the customer, right? I'm a professional musician. I play on these every day. But the first thing I did was call my teachers, my friends at other universities and say, "Hey, what are your," and you have to be careful, right? You can't just immediately try and tell them your idea because they're gonna tell you it's good. You have to ask leading questions that get responses specifically that you want. So, for my case, I asked, "Hey, what type of chin rest do you currently use? Do you experience any pain? Do you have any complaints? What do you like about it?" So that you're getting kind of a background. And then once you get those background questions, when you ask the question, "Hey, this is my idea. This is my product. What do you think?" One, they're thinking about all those other questions you asked and going to apply them to how they answer to yours. But also, you have that
mhm,
context for how they answer your question. Because if someone, let's say they have a generous that they really liked, which a lot of people do, right? There's good stuff out there already. If they had a chin rest they really liked, and I just went straight to showing them this weird thing that looks like nothing they've ever seen before, they'll be like, that's weird." But if I went through and they explained why they liked it, they said, "Oh, well, I really like the shape of this one, and it's the perfect height for me." Well, I can say, "Okay, so this looks a little weird, right? But feel the shape. Is it similar? How's it similar? How's it different to what you have?" Or actually, we have
Mhm.
these little dials here that can make it the height that you want. And so even though it looks weird, it does something similar. How do you feel about that? And those customer interviews are really important for any business that you're starting, whether it's a AI startup or a coffee shop. So
Mhm. I actually have another
yeah.
question on that, because I know in a lot of different spaces, I go straight to, like, the VR setups. They'll have those custom fitted things for for your face. Do you is that anything any bit involved, like a custom shaping to your or I don't know if that's it where you're at now, but do you see yourself doing
Well,
that?
so that was the
Or
original idea. I was gonna
Oh,
scan people's faces with when you're 3D I 3D print these, so when you 3D print them, you can do a scanning software either on your phone or with actual cameras and stuff. So I was gonna have them hold their instrument, scan their face, and then insert the chin rest and mold it to them. It's expensive
mhm,
and not extremely practical. However, I am
gotcha.
still planning to do something similar. So, it's in the patent, so I can say it. I have a plan to make a, little patch that goes on top here that is almost like a hacky sack. So, you know how a hacky sack has little beads inside that move, but then once you press down, it stays, right? Same thing is I'm trying to do the same thing here. So, a little hacky sack, you can kind of move your chin around and it'll form to whatever you need. But then once you actually start playing, it'll stick. So similar,
Hmm.
but just a little.
No, wow. No, that's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's a definitely a different approach, but it actually sounds better because it might be different on a given day, like how you want to. I don't know how that
Well,
really
that's
works in the
and
music
that's
in
the
that.
thing. Like when I'm playing just on a regular day, like this T-shirt's pretty thin, right? But when I'm playing a concert, I'm wearing a suit jacket that probably adds at least another half to maybe a full inch of padding, and so that moves the entire chin rest up.
Mm-hmm.
When I was using my extra tall one, I would, like, go into a concert and be, like, trying to reach up with my neck. So, yeah, there's lots of those variables that this solves by making it so simple. So,
hmm Wow, that's really. I mean, I've learned something about your business and your product. That's awesome. Um, cool. Wow. All right. Well, I couldn't help but think of a better segue, but no, you're wearing our Griggs Center T-shirt. Tell us about your involvement in the Griggs Center and what that looks like for you.
yes. So, my first 2 years, it was mainly just doing Springboard, um, and
Mhm,
pitching and taking classes. And this year, I've had the opportunity to be, Griggs Center president. So, all that
mhm,
means is I get to tell people about the Griggs Center a lot. And we host events for college entrepreneurs at Abilene Christian. Um, Wes, you've been to a couple of them. We do, and so for some context, Springboard gives away a ton of money. I think we give away $75,000. These smaller events that the Greek Center does that I help run, we give away $500 every other week to someone with an idea. And so we spend 1 week of preparing, getting some advice from next week. It'll be a branding professional on so how to build your brand with intentionality. And then the week after, when we pitch, everyone will be pitching for um, $500 and explaining how they're going to take the branding advice they got and apply it to their company. And so that's been one of my favorite things doing with the Greek Center. But I mean, I get to go on trips with them. We went to San Antonio over the summer to tour around my hometown and see a whole bunch of entrepreneurial things going on, some alumni, some just San Antonio natives. And no, the Greek Center's been amazing to me and it's been great to give back a little bit.
mhm. Sweet, sweet. And you are also down in San Antonio for the summer, right?
Yes, so that's home for me, and I was able to get an internship, as well as still working on embracing the podcast. But I worked at a place called Velocity, Texas. They, well, they're a tough place to describe. Velocity, Texas helps bioscience startups. So any company that is making medical devices, therapeutics, anything in the medical space. And we help them grow and we also help them get into the military. So a lot of those companies have technologies that are really, really new. And so the military, especially, I mean, San Antonio is military city, USA. We have a whole bunch of bases and one of the highest percentages of military personnel per capita. We have a lot of military there. Um, and the military is interested in all of these technologies because if they have a stuffing for a wound that will help save a soldier's life, either in training or actually in battle, well, they want to be able to purchase that. And velocity is kind of the way that we connect the military with those companies. It's a central meeting place. And so over the summer, I got to work on a lot of our programs. We do incubators and accelerators, which are kind of your startup services. They're a time frame where you, as the CEO of one of these companies, come in, you come to Velocity, you learn, you get to meet people, you network, and the idea is to grow your business to the point that when you're done, you are further along than you would have been on your own in those 8 weeks. And then we also have more of the services on the military side. So the government does grants for small businesses, not through the SBA, but they're slightly different. They're called SBIR, STTR awards. And so, yeah, I know. Yeah, every every day this summer, I think I learned a new acronym from the military. It was crazy, but um, we have services for writing grants and helping them get this funding. And so all of that, just being in, I know nothing about the biomedical space, but being around all those startups and seeing what they're doing and learning from my boss, who's an amazing entrepreneur as well, um, it was just an amazing experience.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I learned something from watching the conversation y'all had with Vince and Fam, and I mean that was a really good
Well, and
conversation.
Vincent's someone that I met through Velocity. So I mean, for
Mhm.
someone who hasn't listened to his episode, 1, I highly recommend it. Vincent Pham is the founder of Powerhouse Therapeutics, where they are making cancer treatments. And I met Vincent while working at Velocity. He came, he co-works with us, so he has a membership where he can just come in, do some work, have meetings in our conference rooms. I was giving him a tour, started talking because he noticed I was younger. He's younger looking, so we're just talking. Hey, where are you from? What do you do? And I was like, hey, we have this podcast. Why don't you come on? Because I heard of his business and his amazing things he's doing. And I think that's one of the powers of being involved in an entrepreneurial ecosystem. Because when you're in college, you're in the Griggs Center or you're at whatever your university's entrepreneurship program is. And when you leave, you wanna still be surrounded by those types of people so that you're I mean, what's the saying? You something by ex when you're exposed to things, you grow, and that exposure when you're in college is really deep because there's thousands of people just like you trying to do the same thing, and so you're just learning by exposure. When you leave, you wanna be involved in something like that as well, and so for me, Velocity was an amazing opportunity. Also in San Antonio, there's Geekdom, there's Launch SA, both kind of startup ecosystems. And in every city across country, there's places like that that are um, there for you to be involved in.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Wow. I didn't know that Velocity was the biotech stuff as well. Okay. So that's
yeah,
okay. That's
there are
awesome.
some pretty
Sweet.
amazing companies there.
Mhm. Yeah.
But can I ask
Alright.
myself a question?
Yeah, go for it. Ask yourself
In
a
the role of
question.
co-host and guest. So I think the way all these kind of tie in is back to you actually made me think of this, Wes, by asking this question. I think the
Mhm,
creativity and the thinking constantly about different ideas is really important. Um, when you're at Velocity and learning about all these biotech startups that I mean, there's people so smart in there. They're describing things that I don't even understand or couldn't even tell you what they mean. But what they're actually saying maybe isn't important to me, right? It's important for their business, but the technicalities of what they're saying, I don't necessarily need to know. But by being around them, seeing the different levels of, wow, this CEO is doing $10 million and is still trying to grow and is doing these three things to do that. Or this is a common pitfall that everyone keeps coming to ask Velocity about. How do I make sure I don't do that in my business? Or just talking to people and constantly being thinking and learning about different things. I think that's one of the most important things, not only for entrepreneurship, but just growing your mind in general. Because like
mhm,
Thomas mentioned, sometimes your classes are great and sometimes they're not as great. And I think the true value in college, I know Wes and we've had a lot of conversations about this. The true value in college is, of course, you're getting an education, but
mhm,
the things that you can learn and pick up along the way, you you
mhm. The
the
connections
connections
you make.
you make of it what you put into it. You get out what you put in. And the more you can put in, just the more depth of knowledge and experience you'll have. So,
Mhm. If you vibe code your way through a computer science degree, you're not gonna learn
no,
that
certainly
much.
not. Well, and I'm sure that with AI now, that's something that's really easy to do.
Yeah. No, it's a constant temptation to be like, "Oh, I want the easy way out," but no, it's like, that's not gonna
Yeah.
benefit me. But to save ourselves another AI discussion, because 'cause we've had plenty of those already on the
Yep.
podcast. Uh, I do wanna unless you have one more
No.
thing to add, I wanna just talk, like, at least have a little bit of time talking about our podcast, because I mean, we've been doing this for what, 20 some odd episodes now, and we haven't really, like, fully elaborated, like, why we even started this in the first place and what our whole mission is. I mean, yeah, we kinda said it at the beginning of the episode, but we haven't really said it outright and explicitly. So, I mean, Turner, do you wanna just kinda talk on those things for a
Yeah,
second?
absolutely. So, like we said at the beginning, we envision the Startup Storybook is the number one podcast for college age entrepreneurs. And
Mhm,
the reason we believe this is important is I've personally experienced the amazing joy and knowledge from starting my own business. And Wes and I were in the Griggs Center with Daniel Pierce, um, talking just about life, about Springboard, about classes. And we've always said that Daniel has the podcast voice. Um, Daniel,
mhm,
I mean, he could be a radio host. He should be. But we were sitting around, we were talking about all of our Springboard people, about Daniel's podcast voice. We're like, well, we don't need to like start talking somewhere. Why don't we just have all our friends who are making cool businesses on podcasts? Wes, you've been like super interested in editing this type of stuff and wanting to
mhm.
learn more about
Yep,
entrepreneurship. Why don't we all get on a
yeah,
podcast and start? And that's how it
yeah,
started. I mean, we had our our good friends on from ACU for the first couple episodes, and I started out reaching
mhm,
out to people like Lucaris and Colin and all of our guests and saying, "Hey, we're doing this podcast. We're sharing stories of people like you who are doing amazing things across the country." I mean, I don't think people realize how much college students are doing because all you hear are stories of Elon Musk, of Sam Altman. Not that those are bad stories, they're amazing, of course, but for college students, the bar is set so high. You see these people who are
Mhm.
billionaires running the largest companies in the world, and you don't see the amazing things that people our age are doing. And so I think our main mission is just
Mhm.
to share those with all of y'all
Mhm.
and hopefully inspire y'all to either keep an interest and keep an eye out for opportunities or actually go and start something yourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanna add to that because I think one of the easiest things to do to, like, piggybacking on your we easily see all of the success stories about Elon Musk and Sam Altman and all those people, and we see where they're at, but it's so easy to miss the journey that they took to get there, and there's so many different types of phrases out there, but the one that has always stuck with me that as far as I'm concerned, originated with my Scoutmaster and Boy Scouts, and I will never forget this, was that the journey is oh, it's never about the hike is never about the destination, it's about the journey that it's taken to get there. And I think it's applied in so many different areas of my life. And it certainly applies to entrepreneurship as well. And so, in that same vein, our goal as the Startup Storybook is again to tell the different stories of the entrepreneurs who have taken the jump because we want to encourage the entrepreneurs who haven't yet. They've got that idea. They're like, I want to do this, but I'm not super sure about it. If that's you, we want to encourage you to make that jump, to just start the thing that you're wanting to start and go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, like we said, it can be intimidating. I think to your point, some of these people we've interviewed will be the next big stories. And most people will think, wow, they just did it overnight, right? But no, I
Mhm.
mean, it's with Colin and
Yes.
Grant and their and Farm Smarter. Um, I mean, we talked to them.
What was it that you sent me the other
Yeah,
day?
so it was super cool. I've been talking to Colin a little bit actually. Um, he so obviously they came on the podcast, have an amazing company, an AI farming tool for the ag.
Mhm. Agricultural
Yes,
AI.
agricultural AI, um,
Or no, I messed that up.
agricultural intelligence.
Yes.
I mean, Colin, so what I sent you, he was on the Jimmy Fallon show, just last
Mm,
week. He also went to I don't know if we have any golfers out there, but he went to the Ryder Cup and I was talking about some golf. But, I mean, that's already I mean, being on the Jimmy Fallon show and talking about this company is just step 1 of the amazing things that they're doing and all of our guests, right? Ryder with Prevo and
mhm.
the soon to be Netflix, hopefully, of the world, right? Austin with Zoot and
For the
I'm
indies,
sorry?
right? Yeah. Writer, the Netflix for
Yeah,
indie
exactly.
movies.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
so many of these people that I'm so excited to see their progression and
Mhm.
their journey because it's amazing. And we hope that seeing it is not intimidating, in a way that,
Mhm.
wow, I mean, these are the top of the top college students across the country. I'll never be like them. Everyone started somewhere, and they all say that, right? So I think just
Mhm.
if you're listening to this, keep listening, keep waiting. Don't force an idea, but
Mm.
just wait and listen to these people, listen to their stories. You'll pick something out, and one day it'll all click, and some idea will work, and you'll have it.
Yep. Mhm. So, our plans for, like, our vision for the podcast. Do you wanna talk on that, Turner? You want me to talk on that a little bit
Yeah, I
more?
can kind of share some of our vision.
Alright,
So,
go for it.
um, I have lots of thoughts. Like I said, I'm always thinking on these things. I think our immediate vision is to just get as many entrepreneurs as we can. So that being said, we could use your help. If you are listening to this and you either know someone who has an amazing business and should be featured on this, or you are that person, reach out. In the description on all platforms, we have a form as well as our contact email. Shoot us an email, fill out the form. We'd love to meet you, love to hear your story, and love to get you on. And so that's our immediate vision. Over time, I see this becoming something that when you win a Baylor New Venture competition or the MIT business plan competition or Rice, we're there and we are getting you views and exposure because one of the biggest things, like we said, as a young entrepreneur, people don't know about you. And so, um, if we can play some role in that
Mhm,
in the future for the best entrepreneurs in college, I would love for that to be our role. I don't know what you
mhm.
think.
Yeah. One of the biggest Yeah, no, we said it earlier, but one of the biggest things that you can have, and there's tons of quotes out there as well about connections. What's the quote that everyone says,
Your
about
network is your net
connections?
worth.
Yes. And so I think it'd be really cool I mean, hey, we're talking to all these college entrepreneurs. And so to add people to that network, building our own network, but also extending the network of other people, because I mean, it really just takes knowing what, three people to and then their networks, and then it just keeps on going. And so that as a vision, I think is pretty cool as
And one
well.
thing we've never plugged, maybe we should do this more. We post everyone's LinkedIn accounts in the description of every episode. If you just
Hmm.
go in and connect with everyone on LinkedIn, say, "Hey, I loved your episode on the Startup Storybook," they are more than happy to connect with you. That's 22 amazing connections and people to watch,
Hmm.
listen to, and potentially actually talk to. I've spoken with multiple people from across the country who have actually done that. They've gone and talked to, one talked to Ryder and one talked to Okaris, and they, I mean, have really benefited from talking to our
Hmm.
guests, and we're just fortunate enough to get to talk to them. So I think that's already happening, and I agree. I'm excited for that to continue.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Cool. Do we wanna announce any, like, future, like, in the next coming months announcement, or do we wanna wait on that? I don't
What do you
know.
think?
I mean, I think it might be good to get it out there.
Well, then in that case, we have an exciting announcement about a new partnership. So the Startup Storybook, we'll be partnering with Nucleate Texas. We will be doing a podcast series with some of their amazing entrepreneurs. So Nucleate is a global organization of biomedical, college-aged entrepreneurs. We'll be hosting some of the CEOs from their Texas chapter, and we're really excited to get to meet them and share their stories with y'all. So be on the lookout. Our first episode will be dropping in late October, and we'll go all the way through February. So we're really excited and thankful for this opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. I'm thrilled by just the opportunity that's already being presented to us, and, I mean, and for them too. I think it'll be great for everyone involved, for sure. So, I'm really looking forward
So
to it.
Wes, I
Um
got a question for you.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
this being kind of your first entrepreneurial endeavor, the podcast, what's
Mm,
one thing you
yeah.
didn't expect that you've been surprised by? And then your
Hmm.
favorite thing and your least favorite thing.
Okay, so 3 questions, 1. Alright. Let's see here. Um, hmm. Well, I think as I've said a few times, I'm a computer science major. So, I mean, my role being in the back end and doing all of the production and video editing stuff has been definitely very different for me. But I have loved it regardless. And I'm not exactly sure why, but I've been still figuring this out for myself. But I'd say that's probably my favorite thing. So I've answered that. My least favorite thing. Hmm. I don't know if I could really point to that yet. I mean,
Editing a
everything.
podcast late at night.
Yeah, there you go. Duh. How about staying up to 2 a.m. to get the episode out before 4 a.m.? Yeah, there we go. There's something that's not so fun, but it's worth it. It's 100% worth it. And so yeah, favorite and least favorite thing, and something I didn't expect. Let's see here. Um, I didn't expect so quickly to get the different guests that we've had on. And I'm just super happy that we've gotten the people that we have. So yeah, I did not expect that. And and while we're still growing, like we haven't quite yet seen what we're wanting, but even then, I'm still very, very uh, happy about the growth that we have seen, and I'm just excited to see it continue
Yeah,
growing.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more.
All right. Well, is there any like concluding last thoughts that we want to touch on this thing before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. I mean, this has been interesting as being part guest, part host.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No.
I'm
That's
glad we could kind of get it out there. We've never talked about the podcast or shared kind of either of our experiences as entrepreneurs. So I hope it's been valuable in some
yeah.
way.
Yeah. Let's see here. Anything last? Oh, yeah. So if you are one of those college students who is interested on being in the podcast or knows someone, please do check out the link in the description for our Google Doc, or just reach out to us on LinkedIn or email us directly, the startup storybook at
Startup
gmail.com. Is that
Storybook
right?
Pod.
Yeah. Startup Storybook Pod. Yeah, it's all in the description down below. Reach out to us however you can. And if you aren't quite there, if you haven't started your business yet, but you have some awesome ideas, tell us about them. Tell us about them down below. Please comment on the video and tell us what you think. You like the direction that we're going? Do you have any suggestions for what we should do? People that we should reach out to? So yeah, we're on the up. So that's what we're going for.
Absolutely.
So, any
Well,
last
Wes,
thoughts? I mean,
you didn't ask
that's
me
it.
the most important question of this entire podcast.
Oh no, what am I forgetting?
Advice.
Oh, I mean, I guess we kind of talked about that. Okay, yeah. What's one thing that you have to tell your freshman self and all the other people that are trying to start their
I'm going to
business?
be cliche because all of our guests have said it, but it's very true. All you got to do is just start. I think
Yeah.
even right now, my personal philosophy is do something every day that progresses
hmm
either one of the businesses, whether it's Embrace Strings or the Startup Storybook. And in the early days, that was reach out to a guest or talk to one of my friends about the chin rest. And it's evolved
Yes.
into much more. It's make an order for your chin rest or do this, make this magazine advertisement or create an agreement for a deal. But just one thing every day, and that 1%, I mean, 1% compounds very quickly when you do it consistently. So that would be my
It
advice.
hmm All right. Well, thank you, Turner. It's been a great time. And, well, that's a wrap.